illallah, Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. So much you can gain just by saying those few words. You can renew your faith and be showered in reward. Oh, that's the power of living up. It's the best way to purify your heart.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to School Matters. Yes, this evening with me, your presenter and producer, Sumaya. Yes, it's the final week of the school holidays, and I'm sure our educators, learners, and even parents are taking this time to recharge their batteries. Inshallah, everyone will be ready and refreshed to return to school on Tuesday. Well, tonight we're diving into a topic that is both urgent and close to the heart: saving our youth. The school holidays can be a time of rest, but for many of our youth, it also comes with challenges, from peer pressure to unhealthy influences. It's also a time when some rise and sadly some fall. What can we as a community do to guide, support, and protect our youth during these vulnerable times? Well, over this past year, we've witnessed deeply troubling incidents, from bullying at schools, racism among learners, violent fights, and even a security guard shot not by criminals from outside, but shockingly by our very own school children. Yes, this is what's going on. These are not just isolated cases, they are signs of society in distress. And they raise serious questions where we are going wrong. What are our children absorbing, experiencing, and acting out? And most importantly, what can we do as parents, educators, and a wider community to stop this tide? Our schools are supposed to be a safe spaces for learning, for growth, for building futures. But when violence becomes normal, when respect is lost, we are failing our youth. Are we raising our children with enough emotional guidance? Are we present? Are our schools supported? Yes, this is our topic this evening: saving our youth. Today, it's a pleasure, an honor to finally get the busy lady into studio. You know, all of you are fully aware, and these are my views and opinions. If you remember, not very long ago, a school in our community, in our area, experienced severe racial slurs. There were fights, and it was all over not only national social media, even international social media. And this was quite ugly. It became a racial thing, and it was distorted. And I met my guest there, CHETTY, someone who was so involved in removing the doubt, stereotyping, and trying to create harmony and unity amongst all the children at the school. CHETTY, welcome to School Matters.
Thank you so much, Sumaya. Thank you for having me on your show.
Wow, you're looking really sharp there.
Oh, thank you. You too.
You know, you are. Before we continue, can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and what you do?
Okay. I run an organization called Epic Youth Matters. We are obviously youth related, and we work in schools. So currently we are working in the schools in the Sydenham Asheville Overport area. And we actually can help schools with many issues. We've got a wide range of issues that we can tackle. I've been working in this community for 24 years now.
And I never find you.
Maybe I've been hiding myself.
Too busy. Yeah.
So I've been working in, I'm not sure if I can.
Yeah, you can mention the
schools.
names.
Overport Secondary and Beshe mostly. I have done a little bit of work in other schools in the area, but I've stuck with those schools mostly. And that's obviously for funding reasons and a whole lot of things like that. I have a passion for young people. I love working with young people. Being young is a wonderful thing, but there are so many aspects that go into being young. And if a young person isn't helped at that time of developing further, that's when we find all of these broken people in our society.
Yeah. I met you at a program. I was a guest at Centenary, that school, and knowing that principal who's a regular guest, Mr. Play, on School Matters. I was so amazed about that program, what you were doing, that I actually informed DOE and colleagues, principals, governing bodies, especially from the high schools, who have been experiencing similar problems. Can you tell us about that program? I love the name, what you call it. Can you tell us about that program?
Okay, that program was called the Social Stitch. And it was designed to help that school, particularly because of the racial and bullying issues. And if you think about stitches help put garments together. And we were working with girls. And we were talking about society and how to help society and help them with bullying and racism. And that's why we called it the Social Stitch. One of the main things that they did on that day, one of the main activities, because we run with activities.
Yeah.
I don't just stand there and talk to children.
She doesn't only run with activities. Wow, that hall was so done up with decor, with balloons, and you had like diamonds, colorful charms, and lollipops made into this bouquet. So you go all out.
Yeah, we do go all out. Mind you, we don't have a lot of funds, but I have a team. And we think about things and we put things together so that it looks nice. Because if we want to help our young people, we can't help them in a dingy, ugly, scruffy looking place. We want them to change, right? So we make them feel important that way. And then one of the activities was that they design not a matric ball, sorry, we wanted it more important than that. So it was going to be a graduation dress. So in their groups, they had to create a graduation dress for one girl that was in each group. We went to all the shops in the area. They were so kind to give us all their scraps of fabric. In fact, it wasn't just scraps. It was very nice fabric that the different shops gave us. So I want to say thank you for that. And they designed this wonderful thing using stitches to piece all of these pieces of fabric together. And they did this fashion show and all of that. And then we started throwing insults. So insults like, oh, you're so fat, and, you're so ugly, or you're so dark. What country do you come from? And racial slurs and bullying. And as we did that, my volunteers, one at a time, would remove the stitches from the garments. And then you would see that those garments would fall apart, giving them the idea that our society is like a garment. And you have many different colors, different aspects, different kinds of thread, all different frameworks coming together to create something for a purpose, that has meaning. But when we treat each other so badly, we break that garment down, and we're not able to fulfill the purposes for which we were made individually and for which we were made as a society.
Do you know, I was so impressed by what I saw, because the idea was so relevant. And when you think about it, the different pieces come together, every individual. And when one goes out, then it's not complete. And that's how society is. We think that, we can just work in isolation, but we need to work together.
Yes.
And you did it absolutely amazing with the girls. And I think, lots of them, they're in high school, they're going to take this to their tertiary or to their families, to their homes, and they will impart this knowledge, because it's the first time where I came across this idea. And I was like so impressed, because like, who would think that every stitch from everyone makes a whole garment, and when one pulls out or one tears, it's incomplete. So that's one excellent idea. Besides that, you're also involved in GBV, gender-based violence prevention programs. Can you tell us about that? That's quite app right now.
Yes. So that's a huge problem right now. Can I tell you why we started it though? I started this program in about 2006 because I was in the high schools from 2003, and once children started to getting to know us and trusting us through the programs that we run, they then felt like it was okay for them to tell us their problems. They felt a safe space for them, and started to share their abuse problems. And so I ran a pilot program. I ran a camp thinking I was taking about, say, 4 or 5 girls who'd been abused and other girls because I wanted to help them with leadership and development. And on the first night, one of the girls gave her story about how she'd been helped. There was crying in the room. Children wanted to hide. Girls were distraught. And what we discovered that over 85% of those girls were abused in some way or the other and at some point in their lives. And that's when we started thinking how to put this program together. We called it I call it Why Womb. At that time, it was called the Beauty Camp. So if you talk to children, girls who went to camp in 2006 or 2007, they would call it the Beauty Camp. But then we've evolved and call it Young Women of Magnificent Beauty. The program is called Young Women of Magnificent Beauty. And it starts with healing for girls, and then restoration, because you can't restore until you've healed, and then empowerment, because a woman, a girl needs to be empowered to be able to make the right choices then for life. We've restored this house, but the house can't get guests until it's empowered. So we do skills development. We teach them how to choose their courses in school, teach them about themselves, a whole lot of things that will help them outside of school.
Yeah.
And then we thought, I had a girl come back to school after being away for a few months.
Yeah.
And when she met me, I said, well, what happened to you? Where were you? She says, thank you for everything you taught me because it helped me. I said, what do you mean? She'd been raped over the school holidays.
And this is a reality. Lots of things are swept under the carpet, but your program wants to help.
Yes. But now she'd been raped after we'd empowered her. So now I'm thinking, okay, we can't only help girls. And that's when we started the boys program. Because if we're going to do prevention, we've got to work with boys. And that was then the Young Men of Honor, YMO program. And we do healing with them as well, because our boys need healing too.
Exactly.
They've been abused. They've grown up in the same homes as our girls have. They haven't had the role models. And they need to be restored and empowered in the same way. And all of this we do by running school programs. Then we run school clubs. Then we do mentorship programs on the weekend, and then they go on camps.
You know, right now, I know lots of our educators, especially from the high school and principals who are listening, are definitely going to ask me for your contact details. I think right now in society, if you are any leader, whether you're a leader in your community, in a church, in a mosque, in a school, in an organization, institution, or even politically, everyone needs to stand together, because by us standing together, we can save our youth. It's not done individually.
No.
So like if something is done at school, when they leave school and go home, it's undone.
Yes.
So we need to work together. So what made you even start other programs, or even this program?
Well, this program was now because we'd started hearing these stories from girls in schools. Initially, I started being involved in working community with young people and children, because I myself, I haven't been abused or anything, but I struggled as a young person. And when my life started to change, I didn't know what career. I thought I'd be a teacher. I did BA, and then
I don't know whether to tell you that was some revelation. You know what educators go through.
I even thought I'd be a nurse or something in the service field.
Yeah.
And then I eventually heard someone speak about what they were doing here in this organization, and I joined that organization, and I was with them for about 10 years in the community. And in that time, then we started hearing these stories of abuse, and that's why we developed the GBV program.
Do you know, one will think like no, it's not happening in our community. It's not happening with our children. It's not happening. We are a religious school. It's not happening because, our school has its ethos. But the sad thing, you are dealing with schools around the community. And this is a harsh reality. And, the teaching profession is quite stressful. Educators don't have time for so much. And what you are doing, most of us cannot do that. And you are going the extra mile. And you know what? I've been doing school matters for so long. I've met so many guests. I've interacted with so many NGOs, so many people who do motivational speaking and even do programs. But yours was something which was so real, apt. You basically when I saw what you were doing, it was like taking me to one of these YouTube videos, because at the end of it, the learners realized how important it is to work together. That is so vital. What other programs do we have? I mean, bullying is right now, if you look at DOE, they are constantly sending circulars to the schools, not only in the Umlazi district or KwaZulu-Natal, but nationally. Bullying is something on a different level.
Now, with bullying, we've realized that we can't just go into schools and say, okay, this is what happens when you are bullied, and this is how you will feel, and this is where you must report and do all of that. We've got to get to the bullies.
Yeah.
So we've developed an anti-bullying program where we show children, help children understand why they could become a bully, or if they are bullies, the program is directed at teaching you who you are. And from that, we offer healing and we offer counseling to bullies. But sometimes a bully is not necessarily going to think, I'm a bully and I must stop.
Exactly.
I mean, not sometimes. They're not. It's not going to happen. So we've got to use ways of getting a bully to understand that. But it goes deeper than that. Why does a person become a bully? And so then we've got to help children understand what's happening in their surroundings, at home, at school, even their religious networks. What's happening that has caused a child to become this person that doesn't want to deal with life itself, but wants to lash out at others. And when we help children understand that, then they start to see who they are. And that's how we want to help bullies.
And you mainly work with teenagers, adolescents. You're working at that phase where, the body is going through a whole lot of hormones. High school children, this is time, many say they make it or break it. And this is the start of adulthood for them. And, we have to save them. That's so important. When you're talking about bullying, we have been seeing reels and videos and little snippets about in the toilets, in the grounds. Forget the boys, girls busting each other up, poking each other, stabbing. That's like, wow. Have our society, our learners totally lost the plot?
I think our adults have totally lost the plot, because I don't believe that a teenager can become who they are if they haven't learned it somewhere. That a child can become who he or she is if they haven't learned it somewhere. And who are they learning it from? They're learning it from the adults in their society, in their communities, in their homes. So yes, they've lost the plot, but we need to fix where it is all coming from. Now, I can't fix the adults, so I've got to work with the teenagers and the children. We run a kids program during the school holidays as well for 6 to 12-year-olds. It's called the Holiday Club. And we do life skills, apart from all the other exciting, fun things they do. We do life skills with them as well and teach them how to take whatever they're learning at home and use it in different ways so that they don't become that person. So things are bad. Our girls are doing what boys are doing. But if you go back, so now bullying is multifaceted, so is GBV, so is racism. There's a whole lot of things that goes together to cause a person to do this to someone else. So we've got to deal with all of those different aspects to heal them.
Yeah.
But our society on the whole is bad. The Department of Education needs to get involved in a different way, not sit back. I'm sorry if people from the Department of
These
Education.
are our views and opinions by all means.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is we can't be saying let's run the schools and then we have all of these thousands of children in one school and so many in a classroom and not help the school departments or not help schools and then complain that girls are falling pregnant. Who's causing that? Why bullying is happening? Who's causing that? We need to put other programs in place into schools. We need to get NGOs involved in schools to help. The teachers can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
It's difficult for teachers. So why can't the Department of Education actually find NGOs that have been, not NGOs that started yesterday, NGOs that have proven the test
Now
of time?
everyone's an NGO.
Yes, yeah. That can come into schools and help situations, not just maintain a problem, but start from grade 8 and take children all the way up to matric and change them. And if you talk to the school principals and teachers of Overport and Beshe, they will tell you that our organization has helped their schools and have helped their children to change.
That's it's so important and vital to always have support from you guys and individuals who want to make a difference. Because being a high school educator, if you read the papers, the press, everyone's resigning and taking early retirement because they just lost that excitement and that eagerness. Because end of the day, your health, you also have a family, and you also need to be happy and safe. Safe where you work. Another touching topic, a very sensitive topic, racism. How do we deal with this? Especially you being Indian and you are trying to sort out a different issue with a different race. That can also be misconstrued. Tell us racism. How bad is it right now around us?
Look, racism is still a huge problem. But again, it's the adults that are inculcating these values in their children. So adults do need to change. But here is this Indian person coming into a school that has mostly African children, a few Indian and a few colored children. And so people are wondering now, how is she going to help? But if I come there not just telling you how you must do it, but I stop and I don't try to change anything yet, but I start to become your friend. I get to know you. I get to know what you need in life. What are your needs? I build a relationship of trust. Then a child is going to want my help. And that is what we train our teams to do. We train our teams to build relationships. We're a strong relationship organization.
When I attended your program, you had a whole lot of team, and these were like I felt like you got one jumping and putting a balloon, another two are talking to learners, another one is sorting out some certificates. So they all are hands on with the learners, with the children, to ensure that this is success. Looking at racism, one will say apartheid is over, we're moving on, but why is it so embedded? It's still there. It's still there.
Like I said, it's the adults that are still inculcating that in their youth, in their children. And if adults stop, then it will stop. It's an ongoing cycle which we need to break. This incident at that school, I believe it became a racist issue only because of that video that was narrated by the Indian neighbor, using other racial words.
Not even a representative from the governing body or educator.
No, he was
or
just
security,
a neighbor,
random neighbor.
And then people on social media jumped in and it blew up. Can the people on social media just stop? Can people just stop and think before they say things? People need to stop that. And they need to understand what's actually going on, do their research, and then get involved.
We all love social media. If you don't have it, you're not in. But it also leads to unnecessary problems and stress, because when you look at that, all of a sudden, I mean, messages, knowing if you were watching DSTV, it's on international news what's going on, and like, gosh, this is in our backyard.
Yeah.
But again, as you say, investigate, know what's going on before you report something.
Yes.
Yes. But the trend now is take a video and post it of whatever's happening. What advice do you have for parents to deal with racism? Because this is still happening, where your culture, your religion, or your race may not accept someone from a different culture, a different religion, a different race. And we sometimes as adults don't realize it. We tend to persuade or, incite our children by saying certain stuff. And our children might take it out publicly in a public platform or in school. What advice do you have for our parents?
I can give this advice, but a parent must want to change.
Yeah.
If parents don't understand that if they don't change, they are going to make it bad for their children and their children's children.
Exactly.
So that's the advice. The advice is, if you want life to get better for your children and your children's children, you've got to change first. You've got to start being humble, drop your pride, and think, God made all of us equal. Male or female or different races, we're all equal. And if you're a religious person, you cannot believe that you are better than somebody else. Racism on the whole, if you're thinking politically now, there's a whole lot. It's really, we would need more time to deal with that, right? But I would say to adults or parents who have children, stop. Think. Learn to love, learn to accept. Somebody is not bad just because they're a different race to yours. And start teaching your children to love equally, to sit next to the person who's of a different race, to eat from the same plates. We still have homes where the helper is eating from crockery that nobody else uses in the home. So you need to change all of those patterns yourself so that your children can learn.
And the challenges for you will always be there, and there'll always be new ones cropping up, and you need to be innovative to work with the youth, because generally when you are working with the youth, you need to have their attention, and they must want to change, and that's quite difficult. So racism will always be there. And our educators are really stressed. Know the situation. Sometimes an educator might just look at a child, and that becomes a problem. Silly, stupid things, I'll say this on air, becomes issues. Educators are threatened with charges and cases, and it's the respect for the educators are lost, and there's no corporal punishment. We're not siding it. We're not wanting it back. But it's like the learner has so much rights over an adult, forget an educator. And in today's stressful times, being an educator, high school educator, especially in the government sector, is overwhelming for our teachers. What advice or skills or ideas you have for them to survive?
To educators. Okay, so I think firstly, things have gotten bad on both sides, because there isn't this the educators are the adults, so they can create the environment for learners to feel like, I must respect you, and I'm learning. It is my future that is at stake here. So educators are probably really frustrated because they're not supported by the department much. They're not really supported by the parents of the children. And then they have these children who these parents have brought up, right? But if educators just stop to think, I'm here, my job is to help a child get through life. If I just stop and think, how can I make this a nice environment, create a nice environment in my classroom? If I stop not to hate my job, if I learn to love my job, then I will love these children and I will love them as individuals. Yes, you have many, many children in your class and you see so many children every day. Learn their names.
Yeah.
A name is so important, Sumaya. If I remember there was a child who first introduced herself to me as Tupac.
Hmm.
And this is a girl, but she did say that her name was Samantha. Oh, uh, sorry. She did say what her name was. And I met her on the one day, and the next day I was driving into the driveway of the school and I saw her and I said, "Hey," and I called out her real name. She turned around and looked at me. She was like, but she was a naughty child in class, but I won her that day. Just learn a name. Just learn what makes the child tick. If the child didn't come to school the one day, what happened? Are you okay? Not why didn't you come to school? Take a step back and think. Put yourself in the shoes of the child. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult, but I know teachers who've stopped to learn to love the children and then treat them as such, treat them with respect and dignity, and they get the same back.
That's a reality, and unfortunately that's the truth you are speaking, because due to other issues, admin, school issues, personal issues, an educator, some of them, I'm not saying all, are just there to do their job and go home. And sometimes it's not my children, so why should I even bother?
Yes.
That's the reality. But as you're saying, school is also a safe haven for many learners. During COVID time, the MEC insisted that children should be in school because they were getting the nutritional program, that was the feeding, free sanitary, medical, and also it kept the children safe from walking the streets, the girls from getting pregnant, the boys, girls and boys, the ills of society, that
From
the
being
drugs, abuse. School was a safe haven, and many never understand that. We were talking on the macro level of all the schools. So school's a safe haven, and sometimes the memories you make with your learners or the little advice you give can save a life and change a life.
Absolutely. If you just stop to build a relationship with the child and you start helping them, because like you say, the child is coming to school. I mean, why must a child come to school if someone's screaming at them all day, if they can't make a single move? Yes, our children are naughty, but if you don't develop a good relationship with them, they'll still come, but they will make your life miserable. So you, the adult, you can think.
Yeah.
They're not the adults. How is it that in some schools the same race groups behave a certain way and in other schools they don't? Is it race? Is it gender? Is it your geographical location? No. A child is a child is a child. You have the power to change that relationship you can have, and then you have the power to instill that education and make sure a child knows that he is valued, that he has a purpose in life, that he has meaning, and therefore the education is important. If you get that right, I believe we can change.
That's why we need people like you around, because you are not only changing the learners, you're also changing and motivating the educators and parents. You don't realize that, because it can be stressful for a parent. If you think about it, they're going to work, they got to put food on the table. As long as the child is under the same roof, that's good enough. So you don't really have that contact time sometimes. And parents also need to be motivated. Educators need to be counseled how to deal with this.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's no school counselors. Tell us about your programs and if principals who are listening right now or educators want to get in touch with you, how they should go about. Because again, by doing this show, there are so many educators, principals, governing body members who are listening right now and saying, we need to get Michelle CHETTY to our school. Because she has made difference in schools. So how do they go about?
Okay, so our programs are not once-off programs.
Yeah.
I will not do a program in a school if they just say, come and talk in assembly to my children about bullying, anti-bullying. No, because I'm going to talk to you once off, and then what?
Exactly.
You can't change a child if and change behavior on a once off. So we offer schools life orientation programs, and that's based on what the school's needs are. Then we do programs like the anti-bullying and anti-racism program that school needed.
Yeah.
We will go in and do it, and we didn't work with all the girls. We took a section of girls and worked with them, and that will be followed by another program with them, and then we'll work with the boys. Then we have our picnics. So our children who then attend our weekly programs during the lunch break, we do Why Womb and Why Mo. That's voluntary. And children attend that. And those children who attend that then qualify to go on our picnics or our boys' hangouts. And then we have the camps.
Wow.
Now the camps, we only take 30 children at a time. First camp is for healing, second for restoration, third for empowerment. So the work is regular. We're meeting them regularly at schools, and we're meeting them at camps for those 3 days where we can change their lives, doing a whole lot of activities that will help. So yeah, that's how we do it.
And your contact details, email address?
My email address is CHETTYMichelle0@gmail.com. So that's CHETTYMICHELLE, the number 0@gmail.com.
Do you know, people may not realize it, you may not realize it, but you are saving lives and helping, and that's a blessing on its own. You are not getting a big, thick salary or recognition for all that you do, but the Almighty sees all that you are doing. I mean, you can save a life, you can save a family, you can save a school, and we need many of you in the community. So, your parting words?
My parting words is also something that I've learned a long time ago. You can look at a problem and think it is so huge. What am I going to do? I'm just one person. But if you help one child at a time, you can help that family.
That's so true. Well, there was Sister Michelle Chetty, someone who lots of us need, especially if you are from a high school. Definitely her contact is available. Yes, tomorrow is Nelson Mandela, 67 minutes at a time. And we are so excited because everyone's invited. The afternoon jam, nurturing Mandela's legacy, 67 minutes at a time. Well, we have one of the afternoon jam presenters in studio. We are so lucky to have her. She's going to tell us about what's happening tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum, Bibi Amina.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sumaya, how are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. All I know is you're going to have eats and you're going to have special guests and you will be planting things and you're going all out. So can you tell our listeners more about that?
Okay, alhamdulillah, the Afternoon Jam has come up with an amazing initiative. So this time we're not going to be planting. What we are going to be doing, we are going to the Jonah Vaughan Home for the Mentally Ill and Physically Challenged in Amanzimtoti. And we're going to the home to basically do our act of kindness for 67 minutes. We shouldn't always wait to do these things at Mandela Day or whenever it is, but we decided to do something like this because we felt that it's our time to give back to the community. This is I think the second event that the Afternoon Jam is doing, and we're trying to do it as big as possible. We have amazing speakers like the MP Imran Sabrati. We're hoping to get Fawzia P on, inshallah. We have Honorable Commissioner Yasmin Bacchus, so she's going to be there as well. And then the rest of the team, everybody's invited if you're listening now. And Sumaya, I know that you aren't able to make it, which is so sad, but if anybody else is listening and if they would like to join us, they of course can message the WhatsApp line and we can give them the details further.
So just say I'm driving along the beach, I'm at Galleria, or if I'm at Isipinga on the side, let me go and see what the Afternoon Jam is up to. So can you give us the address, the time and the address of the event?
Okay, so the address is 1 to 9, I think it's Bauer Street. At Amanzimtoti, and the time is going to be around about 12 o'clock. So we're hoping to leave here at around about 11 so we can make it in time just to spoil these individuals.
It's such an inspiring initiative. You know, normally people want to do things with big, famous people, but you guys are going to people who really need this.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
also forgot to mention that, inshallah, the CEO of Ansaar, Mr. Yunus Sakur, will be joining us as well. So we have an afternoon that is going to be a fun one, quite official, very, but your type of events. But alhamdulillah, I look forward to it, and I can't wait to go out there and do our bit, myself, Fahim and Ted, doing our bit for the community.
Jazakallah so much. So, if you want to be part of something amazing, this event is proud initiative of the Afternoon Jam in collaboration with the Outreach Department. Well, all the best for tomorrow.
Jazakallah so much. And I love the fact that you mentioned that it's in collaboration with the Outreach Department. We'd like to thank Swaliha for all her help to making sure that this event goes smoothly.
Yes, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our guest, Michelle CHETTY, for taking the time to be here with us in studio this evening, for sharing her valuable knowledge, advice, and the timeless community work she continues to do. May the Almighty bless you and guide you always. A special thanks as well to our tech Asif. I just love having you here, especially with, the soft background music. Well, behind the scenes for making the show possible as always. Each of you is a shepherd and each of you is responsible for his flock. The best gift to children from parents is their time, not their money. The greatest danger to our youth is not rebellion, but neglect. Hurt people hurt people. Heal the child and you protect the adult. From me, Sumaya Khan, your host and producer of School Matters. Enjoy the rest of your holidays. Stay safe and inshallah we'll meet again next week on School Matters. Assalamu alaikum.
What's the greatest man that ever lived? Yeah, you are the one who teach me how to live my life. You show me the path to reach paradise. What would I do without you? You are the only one that give me all that I need. Oh yeah, yeah. You've taught me everything I know. You have shown me the right path. I'll follow you wherever I go. Ain't nobody's gonna make me whole.
Keep my bed, cause my prophet said so. I pray my sunnah, cause my prophet said so. Love the ummah, cause my prophet said so. Said so, said so.
Yeah. Thank you Allah for our prophet. His sunnahs are the only riches that we need. This is real success, profit with no interest. In Jannah we rest. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. What's the greatest man that ever lived? Yeah. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. Mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine, I'll be mine. What's the greatest man that ever lived?
صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. United, one ummah, one nation, one sunnah. For the sake of Allah, the purpose of His life, the greatest of all guides, a mercy to mankind.